Aria Sullivan was the kind of woman everyone thought had the perfect life. She was 32, beautiful in a soft, quiet way, and worked as a nurse at St. Clair's Hospital. She lived on Willow Street in a little beige house with a white porch, swing, and a lemon tree that bloomed year-round. To strangers, she looked content, even happy. But Aria's life was not soft and it was not quiet. She had moved into that house 2 years earlier with her boyfriend. Daniel Hart, charming, warm-eyed, generous. He made her feel seen when she was invisible to everyone else. At least that's what she thought in the beginning. Daniel had the ability to make you feel like you were the only person in the room, until you realized he made everyone feel that way. The relationship had started with flowers, long night drives, and promises whispered against her neck. But slowly, like water wearing down stone, Daniel changed. He became distant, secretive, and jealous for no reason. Some nights he didn't come home. Some mornings he woke up angry at her without knowing why. Aria still loved him. Or maybe she loved the idea of him. Everything shifted. The night she found a lipstick-stained napkin in his jacket pocket. Bright red, a color she'd never wear. There was a phone number written under the smear of lipstick. She felt her stomach twist, felt her hands tremble. But she told herself it could be anything. A patient? A coworker? A misunderstanding? She wanted to believe that. That night, Daniel walked through the door, smelling like expensive perfume, one she didn't own. And when he kissed her cheek, she felt nothing but cold. But that was only the beginning. 3 weeks later, strange things started happening inside the house on Willow Street. At first they were small, lights flickering, the kitchen cabinets opening on their own, her bedroom door shutting in the middle of the night when no windows were open. She blamed the wiring, the wind, her imagination, anything but the truth. Then she started hearing footsteps at night, slow, dragging steps in the hallway. She thought it was Daniel, but every time she checked, he was asleep beside her. Or pretending to be. One night, after Daniel had stormed out during an argument, Aria stayed awake on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, listening to the hum of the dishwasher. Around midnight, she saw something move in the hallway, just a flash. A shadow that wasn't hers, a shape that shouldn't have been there. She whispered, "Hello?" Nothing answered, but she swore she heard breathing. The next morning she told Daniel, hoping he'd reassure her. Instead he laughed, kissed her forehead, and said she needed more sleep and less imagination. She didn't bother mentioning the whisper she heard around dawn, a voice right beside her ear, "Leave." Aria hid that part deep inside her chest and tried to live normally. But the house had changed. It watched her. It waited. And Daniel? Daniel was becoming impossible to reach. His phone was always locked. His excuses were sloppy. His temper was sharp. The only place Aria felt safe anymore was the hospital. She confided in an older nurse, Mrs. Dempsey, who had been widowed years earlier. The woman listened quietly, eyes narrowed with concern, and said something Aria never forgot. "Sometimes the house isn't haunted, sweetheart. Sometimes the people in it are." Aria didn't know which possibility scared her more. One weekend, Daniel told her he was going on a business trip. He left early, too. Early for someone who never woke up before. 9, and kissed her cheek, without even meeting her eyes. As soon as he drove away, Aria's phone buzzed with a message. A number she didn't recognize. "You don't know me, but you need to leave him." Aria stared at the screen until her hands went cold. She called back, but the line was dead. That night the house grew louder. The footsteps came again, heavier this time. A picture frame fell off the wall. The back door creaked open, though she had locked it herself. She grabbed a flashlight and walked slowly through the hallway, whispering Daniel's name, even though she knew he wasn't there. Then she saw it, something reflected in the glass of the front window. A figure behind her, tall, motionless. She spun around, shining the beam of the flashlight into the air. No one was there, but the figure had been real. She felt it. She rushed back to her bedroom, shut the door, and pushed a chair against it. She didn't sleep. When morning came, she felt like she was losing her mind. She went to the hospital early and searched her phone history, trying to call the unknown sender again. No answer. But at noon she received another text. "He's not on a business trip. He's with her. Room 304, Moonrise Motel." Her heart cracked. She could have ignored it. She could have stayed home. But instead, she found herself driving toward the rundown motel, hands shaking on the steering wheel. She parked far from the entrance and walked to Room 304 as if pulled by invisible strings. Before she could knock, she heard voices. Daniel's voice. And a woman's laugh. Something inside her went silent. Not rage, not heartbreak, just silence. The kind of silence a woman reaches when she is finally done being fooled. She didn't open the door. She didn't confront him. She walked away. She grabbed her keys and ran outside, locking the door behind her. She didn't return until late. When the sun was gone and the streetlights cast long shadows across the sidewalk, Daniel's car was parked in the driveway. All the lights inside the house were off. She stepped inside slowly, calling his name. No answer. The silence in the house felt wrong, too still, too heavy. She walked deeper, heart pounding, until she reached the living room. Daniel was sitting on the couch, facing the staircase. "Daniel?" she whispered. Daniel insisted the place was haunted, cursed, dangerous. Aria didn't respond. She was too exhausted by him, by the lies, by the fear, by the house that had watched her suffer for months. That same day, she packed her bag, called a locksmith, and changed the locks. She told Daniel he needed to leave. He begged, he cried. He apologized. He even swore someone had texted him too, that he wasn't the only one being haunted. But Aria was done. She told him calmly, "Whether the house is haunted or not, the relationship is." He left with his suitcase and never returned to Willow Street. But the story didn't end there. 2 weeks later, Aria received a call from the unknown number. A woman's voice, soft, steady. "You listened," the voice said. "Good." Aria's heart hammered. "Who are you?" "I lived in that house before you," the woman replied. "I left because he was like yours, because love made me blind, because the house didn't want me to die there." Aria felt her knees weaken. "What do you mean, die?" The line crackled. The voice lowered. "The house doesn't haunt you. It protects the women who live there. You were in danger, Aria, more than you realized." The call ended. Aria never heard from the woman again. But sometimes, late at night, she felt the air shift gently in the hallway, as if someone invisible was keeping watch. No footsteps, no shadows, no fear, just presence. And every time she passed the staircase, she whispered, "Thank you." Because Aria finally understood. Not every haunting is a curse. Sometimes it's a warning. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's the only love that doesn't lie. And on Willow Street, she was finally safe.